All right, guys. First, I just wanted to mention that you do not need the Python Crash Course book to follow along with this video. What I did was I took inspiration from the book, I learned from it. I thought, how can I make this better? I spun it up and I made it my own. And now I provided you the code so you can follow along with me. And here's the code down here. So problem is I could only fit up to like 500 characters, meaning I can't fit all of my code. And this was actually one of my last videos where I mentioned, hey guys, I can't fit all the code in here because YouTube limits how many words are in the comment section or description. Okay, so in order to get around that, what I had to do is I had to upload it to my GitHub. All right, so GitHub's completely free. You can access my GitHub completely free, as I mentioned. This is how you do it. What you do is you just go to my description and you're just going to copy the link, okay? And you're just going to copy link address. You're going to put it in a browser, all right? And then let me show what you're going to do next. All right, and that's going to take you to my GitHub here. In this video, it should take you to Python Crash Course Section 5 if statements, okay? And what you're going to do is you're going to see all this code here, and you're just going to click on this, copy raw content. And once you copy that, it's already copied to your clipboard. Go over to Sublime Text Editor and just paste it in. All right. And when you paste it in, it'll look just like this. And you'll have all the code you need. We're going to run through this in sections. Okay. So you have part 1 here. It starts here. And then you'll see end part 1. That's where it ends. So when I say, hey guys, we're doing part 1, go ahead and just copy part 1's code. Open a new tab within Sublime, and now you're just going to paste it in. Okay, and now when you click Control B, it's going to run only part 1's code, so you can follow along with me. Now, if you're having issues, it might be because Sublime Text Editor isn't noticing that the second tab is Python. So what you want to do is you can just create a new file, go over to your Python folder. Let me show you how to do that real quick. All right, so this is the list.py. That py means it's a Python file. Meaning when Windows sees it or Linux sees it, it knows it's Python. So that's it right there. All right. And so you can just create one and it should open like this and it should run. If you run into any issues along the way, mention that in the comment section. I'll help you out. Heck, I might even create a video for you. All right, just to help you out. So let's go ahead and start with part 1 here. So we're going over if statements. Simply, what we're going to do here is we're going to test a condition. If the condition is met, then we're going to perform some action. Okay. So in this case, we're going to have a brand list. So we have inside this brand list, we have Nike, Adidas, and Gap. And we're going to loop through the list. So if you watch my last video, we went over looping. So we're going to loop through that list, and it's going to go through each one of these brands within the brand list. And so it says for brand in brand list, right? The list that we have. If the brand is equals to Gap here, then we're going to print the brand in uppercase. So what we're doing is we're taking that brand, right? We're sending it to the uppercase method. That method is taking Gap as input, capitalizing the word Gap, and then sending it out as output. And that output will be printed to the screen. Okay. Else, if that condition isn't met, you're just going to print the brand and you're going to send it to the title method, which is going to capitalize the first letter in that word. Okay. And it's going to loop through each brand. So it's going to go through Nike, right? It's going to check, is Nike equal to Gap? No. Okay. Else, we're going to run else. Okay. So we're going to print Nike out and we're just going to make sure that first letter is capitalized. We're going to check Adidas next. So it's going through the loop again. If Adidas is equal to Gap, no. Okay, cool. Run this else. and it's going to capitalize at first A. If it's already capitalized, great. And it's going to print that to the screen. Then we get to gap. It's going to say if brand gap is equal to gap, and it's equal to gap. So now it's going to say, okay, let's run. We've met the condition. So we're going to print gap in uppercase, and we're going to print that to the screen. Okay, and this else isn't going to run, right? Because it met the condition of the if, and that's going to run. So let's go ahead and press Control Bravo, and you'll see Nike, Adidas, Gap in uppercase. All right, conditional test part 2. We can set a conditional test. If a value matches another value, then the boolean value, which is just fancy for true false, right, will be either true or false. Okay. So in this case, we have a brand, Nike. If the brand is equals to Nike, then it should print true. So let's run it, and it prints true. But if we were to change that, let's see what would happen. So here I set brand to Adidas. So that brand variable holds Adidas in it. So if the brand is equal to Nike, it should print false, right? Because it's not equal to Nike. False. All right. Okay, when you're testing these conditions, the case matters. Meaning if we have TIE Fighter with a capital T, Python doesn't see that equal to TIE Fighter with a lowercase t. So for example, we have TIE Fighter, it's being held in the fighter variable. We're checking to see if the fighter variable is equal to TIE Fighter with a lowercase t, and that should print false. So in order to fix that, we can run the variable through the lower method. So we'll take the value TIE Fighter with a capital T, run it through the lower method, right? And it will output TIE Fighter with a lowercase t. And then we'll see if TIE Fighter is now equal to TIE Fighter with a lowercase t. So like I just mentioned, TIE Fighter with an uppercase t inside the fighter variable, we send it over to a lower method. The lower method will lowercase all of the words in TIE Fighter. It'll then compare that value to this TIE Fighter word here, and that should return true. Great. Okay, so now we're on part 5. So here we have same situation. We have a TIE Fighter variable that holds TIE Fighter with a capital T. We send over to the lower method that lowercases it and makes it equal to TIE Fighter, right? Now we print fighter, right? So we're printing this variable. Let's see what happens. Interesting. So yes, it meets the condition, and it sent it to the lower method and it lowercase TIE Fighter. But when we print TIE Fighter after that, you'll notice that TIE Fighter returns with a capital T. So the thing here is the original value will not be altered. Okay, so that's just important to take into mind as we proceed forward. Okay, testing for inequality. If we want to determine if a value is not equal to another value, we can use exclamation equals. The exclamation means not, and the equals means, well, equal. So it's saying not equal to, right? So here we're going to check to see if Jar Jar Binks is, let's see here, the chosen one. So if you've all watched Star Wars, we all know Jar Jar Binks isn't the chosen one, Anakin's the chosen one. So here you have a character, just Jar Jar. We're going to print that character so you can see that character variable holds Jar Jar in it down here. Now, if character, in this case Jar Jar, isn't equal to Anakin, which it's not, then you're going to print the character is not the chosen one. So as you see down here, the character is not the chosen one because Jar Jar's just not chosen. And how can you use this in the real world, right? Let's think cybersecurity here. So in cybersecurity, you have malware, and there's different categories of malware. There's adware, spyware, trojans, worms. So if we're determining whether or not a malware is spyware, for instance, we can run it through this, and it will return that it's spyware. If we're looking for a certain type of malware, is the Trojan is the malware a Trojan? We could check to see if it's a Trojan. If it's not, let's say it's a worm, then that will return the malware isn't a Trojan, right? It's a worm. So, later on, we'll talk about how you can use this and how it can be practical. Now, it's important that you understand and you develop a foundation. That's the most important part. So right now we're going to be having fun with this, guys. I don't want you to fall asleep on me, and I just want you to understand the concepts. So later on, when we create cool video games, you guys will understand what we're doing. All right, part 7, numeric comparisons. So here we have the year 2025. Okay, we're trying to determine if the year 2025 is equal to, in this case, 2025. That should return true, right? Let's run it. Oh, whoopsie, just messed that up. All right, so Control B, and that's true. Let's change it to 2024, right? Obviously, that's going to be false, and it's false because, well, that's not equal to 2025. Let's move on. Oh, all right, so we're going to test if Jar Jar is a chosen one again, because we're just going to do this differently. So if chosen one isn't Anakin, because Anakin's the only chosen one, then it's going to print, this is not the correct answer, please try again. Let's see if this runs. And yes, obviously Jar Jar isn't the chosen one. Yep, it prints, this is not the correct answer, please try again. I'm just showing you different ways of how to use it. All right, part 9, mathematical comparison. So here we have age. So here we have age. If age is less than 21, then it's going to print you can't drink. Okay. And the F means format. The double quotes means it's a string. It could be single quotes as well. So it says here, if age, in this case, is greater than 21, or actually, sorry about that. So we have the age variable, which stores 21. If it's greater than 20, then it'll say you can drink, because 21 is greater than 20, right? So let's run it. You could drink, right? But if we change that to 18 and run it, it's going to say you can't drink. Very simple, where you're just using greater than and less than signs to specify that that age has to be a certain value. So the age, if it's lower than 21, because it's less than 21, it's going to say you can't drink, right? Pretty easy. So if we need to check if multiple conditions are true, we can use AND. Using AND, we're able to determine whether or not Jar Jar Binks is a Sith Lord. So we're going to have to check for 2 Sith attributes. First, we're going to be asking, are his eyes yellow? Because we all know Sith Lords have yellow eyes. All right, so if that checks out, then he might be a Sith Lord. Next, we're going to check, does he have a red lightsaber? So if he has a red lightsaber, he meets both of those conditions, both those attributes are checked, he's a Sith Lord. We know that for sure. So, let's see. Is Jar Jar Binks a Sith Lord? Well, let's check attribute 1. And you'll see attribute 1, followed by my answer here. So, are his eyes yellow? They are yellow. Oh my gosh. He might be a Sith Lord. Oh, why didn't I see this coming? Oh, okay. Let's check attribute 2. Huh. Does he have a lightsaber? No, he doesn't. So when we run this, it's gonna check Sith attribute 1. Does he have yellow eyes? Yes. And is attribute 2 met? Does he have a red lightsaber? Well, our answer here says he doesn't. So he doesn't have a red lightsaber. Or does he? Maybe he is. Misa, think it's time for you to die. All right, we're having too much fun with this. We need to go back to coding. All right, so if we run that, let's see what that says. False. All right, let's check Darth Vader, right? Let's see if Darth Vader is a Sith Lord. So first we'll check attribute 1. Does he have yellow eyes? Yes, according to canon, Darth Vader has yellow eyes. Okay, attribute 2. Does he have a red lightsaber? With the answer, yes, he has a red lightsaber. So both of these conditions are met. Let's see what the results come. So when we run that test, it comes out to true. Darth Vader is Sith Lord. Shocking, I know. All right, guys, let's move on to the next one. All right, so next we're going to use or. So or will check if one or the other condition is met. If it is, it's going to run. If both of the conditions aren't met, it won't run. So here in the States, if you want to watch a rated R movie, you have to have somebody at least 18-year-old with you, right? So if someone's not 18-year-old, then you can't watch a rated R movie, okay? So let's test this out. Let's say you go to a movie with your friend, he's 13, you're 16. Let's see if you can watch a rated R movie. Well, let's see if those conditions are met. So person 1, age 13. Is that greater than or equal to 18? No. Okay, let's see if person 2 is 18, right? Person 2. And let me change that to 2. There we go. Is that greater than or equal to 18? No. So guess what? You ain't watching a rated R movie. Let's check it. That's gonna be false. Well, let's say you had your big brother with you. He's 18. All right, let's run that. True. So person 2 was 18. So therefore, person 1 can watch a rated R movie with him. All right, part 12, checking if a value is in a list. Here we're checking the existence of a sports car in the types of car list. So we have different types of cars in here. We have sedan, coupe, sports car, muscle car, right? And what we're doing here is we're checking, is a sports car in the types of car list, right? Let's run it and see if it's in there. True, it's in there. Now, if you were to change sports car to anything else, you know, let's think of a tank here. Is that in our list? That's going to return false. So now let's check to see if a value is not in a list, right? So here we have the ban list for Twitter. So these are people that have been banned for Twitter. I'm not trying to make this political, okay? I think we all get into this field for a reason, because we're doing ones and zeros here, right? True or false? We don't have to deal with political or anything like that. I'm not trying to do that, right? But I'm simply just showing you a list of banned users for Twitter. Okay, so we got Alex Jones, David Duke, Donald Trump, as we all know, and Michael Flynn. Okay, so all these people, they're banned from Twitter, right? Let's say you want to create a new user account. So, I'm Dan the Tech. I'm trying to create a Twitter account, And so what we're doing here is if user is not in, right, banned list, it's the list, the banned list, then it's going to print username. It's going to send it to the title method, so it's going to capitalize that first word. If it's not recapitalized, you can create an account if you wish. Otherwise, if we're anybody on this banned list, you can't create an account, and it just won't let you. So let's test it out. So it says, hey, Dan Tech, you can create an account if you wish, because I'm not on the banned list. All right, part 14, Boolean expression. Boolean, as I just mentioned, is just another name for conditional test. Boolean values can be true or false. An example of this is the sky blue? That Boolean value will be true, right? For testing out that condition. Now, if statement. There's different types of if statements. We're going to go over them pretty soon. The simplest one is simply the if statement. If a condition is met, then do something. You can see it's tabbed in there. So that's very easy to do. Here, age. Our age is equal to 17. If age is greater than or equal to 17, then it's going to print. So it's going to format that as a string, insert user, send it to the title method. You can buy a rated M video game at GameStop by yourself. So here in the States, if you want to buy rated M video game like Grand Theft Auto or the original Halo, you have to be 17, right? So let's see if you're able to do that. Looks like we ran into an issue here. All right, let me take a look at this real quick. All right, figure it out. It was the variable. So it said user, change it to age. Let's run it. Oh no. Okay, give me one more sec. All right. I forgot to comment something. Let's run it. Oh, dang it. All right, I'm back. So had to change the code here. Don't worry, the code that you're getting from my GitHub is corrected, so you won't run into this issue. But the age here, 17. Now if we run it, it's going to say 17. Oh, all right, let's do this. I'm just gonna grab that. There we go. Come in here, throw it in there. There we go. Come over here, delete that. There we go. Let's run this now. Heck yeah. All right. All right. You're 17, so you can buy a rated M video game at GameStop by yourself. So that's what we get here. If we change the age to 15. All right, so you can't buy one. It won't prompt you. All right, so let's move on. All right, part 15, if else statements. Normally you want an action to take place if a condition isn't met, right? So we can use if else. So if the condition is met, great, take this action. Else, take this action. So age 18, if age is greater than or equal to 18. All right, so if age is less than or equal to 18, then it's going to format in a string, user, pass over to the title method. You can join the military, right? Else, it's going to print format string. You can't join the military. Come back when you're 18. Go play some COD, some Call of Duty, right? So the if else statement works well in this situation. in which Python will execute if one condition is met, and if that condition is met, then it will run another condition, right? So there's two possible actions that could take place, and one of the two will execute. All right, part 16, if, else chain. In a case where we have more than two possible conditions and require further evaluation, you can use if, else chain. It runs if one of the conditions matches, and if a condition matches, it will stop within that chain. So if the if condition is met, then it will stop. If the if else condition is met, it will stop at that. Or if the last one else is met, usually it'll be like a catch-all statement, it will stop. Okay. In this scenario, we have the Comic-Con tickets. So if you're older than 12, you have to pay $90 to get into Comic-Con. And if you're younger than 12, you get in for free. Man, I wish I was 12. All right, anyhow, so you got age is equal to 18. If age, in this case, is less than 12, we print you pay $0, not a dime. Else if, and else if is spelled out like Echo Lima India Fox. So it's not actually else if, it's just ELIF. Age is greater than 12, then it prints you must pay $90. Now, what if they input something that's not valid? Let's say they input 1, 2, 3 or ABC. Well, it's gonna print out input a valid age, right? So let's print. And you can say here, because we're 18, we got to pay $90. Now, a more efficient way of doing this is to have age set to 18. So if age is less than 12, price equals 0. So we're just setting a price variable to 0. Else if age is greater than 12, you set that price variable to 90. And then you can set that else, if it doesn't mean either one of those conditions. And it's going to say input a valid age, because you probably didn't input a valid age. Now you're going to print that format string, your price is, and then whatever price, whichever if else or else statements executed, that price variable will then print down here, right? So rather than having to put a string after each condition, we can just put the condition, the string at the end here, right? So it's just a little bit easier. And you can see the age is 18. So it prints out your price is 90. So it's just taking this 18 is greater than 12, and this price variable is then passed down here, and that's what's going to print along with this string, which is going to say your price is 90. All right, so that's all for 16. Let's move on. All right, using multiple if-else blocks. All right, so here we're going to be doing some grading on the scale from A to F. So we can use if-else blocks, and we can put as many as we want, right? So you have the score 90. You have if score is greater than 89, right? So if it's 90 or greater, then that would equal an A. And here we have if else score is greater than 79, which that would equal a B, because that's from 80 to 89, right? And then we had if else, and you can see I just put an if else, and earlier we didn't do this, but you can put as many if else as you want. And at the end, you see I have this else, which you don't need, and we'll talk about that later. But that would equal B. If else score is greater than 69, that equals a C. else if score is greater than 59, that equals a D. And if it doesn't meet any of those criteria, it's an F, right? And by the way, I'm just letting you all know, you all get A's. I'm giving you guys all A's, right? So let's set this to 91, because I think you all deserve A's. All right, so let's print that out. Let's see what we get. All right, grades an A, right? Okay, let's move on. All right, part 18. Here we can see that we don't have an else at the end. And I mentioned earlier, you don't need the else statement at the end. So this will run perfectly without it. And let's see what we get. Let's run it. Perfect. Yeah, I told you earlier, you guys all deserve A's. And I gave you a 91, I'm gonna give you guys 100. I think you guys deserve that. All right, there you go. Got your grade, it's an A. And we could play around with this. So let's, set 68. That would be a D. So you could play around with this if you like, but that was just to demonstrate you don't need the else statement at the end for this to work. All right, part 19, testing multiple conditions. Here we have McDonald's orders. So let's say you pull up to the drive-thru, you're ready to give your order to the person, and this is what you're requesting. You're requesting McNuggets, a McDouble, and ice cream. Now, here in the United States, their ice cream machines are always broken. I'm telling you, like every single time I've gone to McDonald's and asked for an ice cream, they always tell me it's broken. And I looked into it. It's actually because the machines just go down and they have service technicians that come out, but they're really slow and they're fixing all the machines that are broken, which is like pretty much all of them. So they're really busy and they never get to it. Anyhow, if McNuggets is in the order, right, which is our list up here, then it's going to print McNuggets right up. If McDouble is in the order, and this is our list order, which is right here, it's going to print McDouble right up. If ice cream is in the order, it's going to print our ice cream machine is broken, sorry. And at the end, it's going to say, your order is ready, sir. Accept the ice cream. Sorry. Oh man, I almost forgot to run it. All right, so here we go. Ran it, and you can see Nuggets right up, McDouble right up. Our ice cream machine is broken, and your order is ready. Accept the ice cream, sorry. So just gotta remind myself to run it every single time. All right, so here I'm taking a look at 19 and 20. And all right, so let's look at 20. This code would not run properly if you use if, else, else. Actually, yeah, block. Because the code would stop running after one condition is met, okay? And so you can see I made a break here, that a line break. When 20s run, it's down here after the line break. McNuggets right up, right? So as we talked about earlier, you have your list, check that first condition, McNuggets, and if that's met, then it actually stops there, okay? So in this scenario, what you're gonna wanna do is you're not gonna wanna use the if, else if, okay? What you're gonna wanna use is the if, like we did in 19, because if will check every condition up until the last one. And just like up here, it will actually give you a response for each one of those conditions. So that's just something to take into mind. Let's move on. All right, and from here on, I'm gonna actually take a pause. So I'm gonna actually show you guys, I'm copying it to allow you time to actually copy it as well. So let's go ahead and we're copying, I believe 21, right? Okay, So let me grab 21. Put that in there. All right, alien color. So here we have an alien color variable and we're storing green in it. And here we're saying if the alien color is equal to green, then we're going to print to the screen, you just earned 5 points. So at this point, we're just doing some practice, and just trying to lock down all this information. This isn't nothing new, but this is something that's going to continue to grow, and it's how we actually make a game. Okay, so let's move on. All right, alien color 2. If else. Okay, that will prompt you earn 5 points if green, and if it's not green, if it's another color, it'll just print the alien colors isn't green. Okay, I think I said earn 10 points. Yeah, we'll just put isn't green. There we go. So if alien color is equal to green, you just earn 5 points, else the alien color is not green. All right, let's move on. Okay, actually, let me correct this as I go. So I'm just gonna replace that there. All right, we're gonna grab 23. There we go. So alien colors using if, else if chain. So alien color, we'll set it to green. If alien color is equal to green, then it will print you earn 5 points. Else if alien color is equal to yellow, then it will print you earn 10 points. Else if alien color is equal to red, it'll print you earn 15 points, player. Okay, let's move on. All right, let me clear that out. There we go. Oh, and then something else I'm just going to teach you if you don't already know, but let's say I just deleted something, right? And I didn't want to delete it. I deleted by accident, right? So let's say I did some code, deleted by accident. Whoa, what am I going to do now? What you can do is you could click Control Z, as in Control Zulu, on your keyboard. And actually, let me try that again. Control V, then I can delete this. Control Z, and it'll bring it back, right? So Control Z can undo a delete. That's just for future reference. We'll go ahead and delete this though, and we'll move on. All right, so right now we're just on 23. We're gonna go on to 24. There's a lot of Star Wars references, guys. All right, age. So we're gonna use if, else, and we have human years, which is 110. And if you watch The Mandalorian, Baby Yoda, Grogu, he can live up to 1,000 years. I believe Yoda died and he was like 900 years old in human years, right? So watching The Mandalorian, we all know that Grogu is an infant, right? So we create a program here that will take human years and prompt you, print out to the screen, let you know at what age Baby Yoda is at what stage is he at. So here, if human years is greater than 1,000, right? Because we know Yoda only lived up to like 900, like 1,000 years old, right? Then Grogu, Baby Yoda, would be a Force ghost. He'd be dead, right? No, he'd be a Force ghost. All right. Else if, and here's human years, right? So if we input whatever we input there, if it's greater than 900, then we could say Baby Yoda is really old. You know, Grogu's really old. And then here we have another else if, like I mentioned earlier, you could have as many else ifs as you want. Human years is greater than 700. Then it's going to print Grogu Baby Yoda is an old person. So he's old, but not that old. Right? Else if human years is greater than 300, then we can say Baby Yoda is an adult. Okay. And we continue on with this. You know, we got 200. Grogu is an adolescent. We got 100. So if he's, you know, younger than 100, we could say that Grogu is of primary school age. And if he's less than 50, then we could say Grogu Baby Yoda would only be newborn, infant, toddler, or school age. He'd be one of those. And we all know in the show he's an infant, right? So let's go ahead and run this and let's see what we get. Let's say he's 110 human years. How old would he be in, you know, Yoda years? And it says Grogu Baby Yoda would be of primary school age. Okay. So it stopped right here because the condition was met. You know, that's greater than 100, but doesn't surpass 200. So that's why it stops there. So that's just an example of if, else if statements. All right, part 25 is actually a break. If you need to take a break, go ahead, pause the video, make sure you're drinking some water. This is kind of a long video. All right, and once you're done with that break, let's go ahead and move on, okay? So what I'm gonna do here is you can go ahead and pause it if you like, but I'm gonna go ahead and move on here. So we got part 26, all right? There we go. All right, so list of things you like. And so here we have a list of things you like. So we like Star Wars, we like Python, we like hacking, okay? So here we have if Star Wars is in the like list, then you're gonna print you like Star Wars. If Python is in the like list, it's gonna say you like Python. If hacking is in the like list, it's gonna say you like hacking. Else it's gonna print not in like list. No, it's not in the list. So let's run it. And it's gonna print all three of those because all those conditions were met because all of those were in our list. All right, so that's just an example of your if, and your else is kind of like a catch-all statement there, because if this list were empty, it would probably run that. Yeah, not in like list. Now I'm gonna click Control Z, and it's gonna undo what I deleted. All right, so let's move on to 27. Checking for special items using a conditional test and loop. So here we have our order. We got McNuggets, McDouble, and ice cream. Here we're checking that list. So for request in order. And if at this point you're kind of confused, you're like, I don't see request anywhere. Where are you getting that from? Well, you can make it up really. So let me show you. Okay. So request is right here, right? If you deleted request, you can see all the requests. If you deleted that and put an R, I think I mentioned this earlier, but I'm just going over it again because some people learn with repetition, right? So if we delete that R and we run it, it'll run. It's just for whatever value you want. That will reference only one of those index values here, so McNuggets. And I say, if you're doing this, make sure it makes sense. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and fix what I just deleted. Request makes sense to me. don't put like transformers or something in there, because if someone's reading your code later on, they're not going to know what the code's doing. It's going to be confusing, right? So if request equals ice cream, sorry, our ice cream machine is broken. Okay. And it's checking each one at this point, right? Else, print, request on the way. So again, in this case, it's going through McNuggets, checking McNuggets. It's putting McNuggets in request, and it's checking the order list. If request, which is now McNuggets, is equal to ice cream, it's going to print this. Sorry, our ice cream machine is broken. Else, and it's not. So what's going to do is it's going to run the else. Format string request, which is McNuggets, on the way, right? And at the end, it's going to print your order is ready, sir. So here we check each requested item before adding it, and we print the order saying it's on the way. The ice cream machine is broken, so if it detects ice cream machine, which is at the end, it's gonna then run that if. Okay. So here it is down here. It's on the way, big double on the way. Sorry, ice cream machine is broken. No ice cream. Frowny face. Your order is ready, sir. All right. So let's go and move on to 28. Hey, we're getting close to the end, guys. I think this only goes to like 31 or something. So thanks for staying in there. All right. Part 28. Check if the order is empty. Here we'll check if the order is empty. Do a quick check to see if the list is empty list. And if the order is empty, it will run an action, right? So here we have our order list, it's empty. Now this is kind of important because as we build up and make these apps, you're going to be checking for whatever values they're entering in that app, making sure they're not trying to, you're going to have some input validation to make sure they're not trying to hack you. You're going to be checking them and make sure that whatever they're inputting is actually a value that you can do something with. So, you'll see how this all comes into play later, but it's checking if order for request in order, right? Print request order on the way. And then it's at the end, it's going to say your order is ready. Else, it's going to print, you didn't order anything, sir. Do you need more time? And so it's going to print, didn't order anything, sir. Do you need more time? Because that order list is empty. So this is a way of checking to see if that list is empty. And you can see that if is out here. So if order, else is down here, right? But then within that, you have this nested for request in order. And that's something you can do. You can nest them in there. Nest just means it's, I guess, lower in the hierarchy of your code, right? So here it's lower, this is higher, right? And you tab it, and the tabs indicate this is nested. Okay. All right, part 29. Let's grab that. Using multiple lists. Here we'll be comparing two lists, and what we're gonna see is if whatever the person's requesting in their order is actually on the menu. Okay, so this is our McDonald's menu. Okay, this is what we got in the United States. Right, we got McNuggets on our menu, we got McDoubles, we got Big Macs, we got cheeseburgers, and we have Cokes. We also have AR-15s because this is America. All right, I'm just playing. All right, and this is what the person's ordering. All right, so they're ordering a McDouble. They're ordering a Famous Star from Cars Jr. Like that's a Cars Jr. thing, right? So what we want is we want something to say, hey, you're a McDonald's we don't have famous stars here, okay? All right, let's see what else they're ordering. They're ordering a Coke. All right, so here we're saying for request in order, right? So for request, this is a request, this is a request, and this is a request. In the order list, and then here we're checking to see if request in menu, right? So we're saying for each one of these requests, we want to make sure they're actually in our menu, right? And if it is, it's gonna add it to the request. Else, if it's not in our menu, it's gonna say we don't sell that request at McDonald's, McD's. And at the end, it's gonna say your order is ready, sir. So let's see what happens. Let's run it. Adding McDouble. We don't sell famous stars. Cars, that's a Cars Jr. thing, right? All right, adding Coke. And it's gonna say your order is ready, sir. So that's just an example of comparing multiple lists, as you see here. So first you say for that first list, basically, and then you're saying if the request is in our menu list, the main list, then do this. Else, tell them it's not on the menu list. All right, creating a list and printing a message for every user in the list. So here we have a worker list. And inside of our worker list, just your typical workers. You got Han, you got Luke, you got Boba Fett, Chewie, and RTD2. All right, so here it's saying for user in worker list. And then here we have nested if user, right? So Han, Luke, Boba Fett, Chewie, RTD2 equals Luke. It's going to print out something special. It's going to say user. In this case, it goes through, says, we need you, right? From Star Wars. Look, we need you. Else, it's going to print user welcome. So let's say we have our, workers logging into their computer. What it's going to do, it's going to say for user and worker list, if user, and it's going to check. All right, first one, that's Han. Doesn't equal Luke. We're just going to print Han welcome. And then the second one, for user and worker list, and that equals Luke. So it's going to say we need you, right? And then Boba Fett and all the rest of them, it's just going to say welcome. So let's run it, see what happens. And welcome, Luke, we need you. Boba Fett, welcome. Chewie, welcome. RTD2, welcome. That's what happens. All right, let's move on. 31. Oof. All right, guys, let's do 31 here. All right, so that's 31 right there. Show the same thing I got over here. Okay, so we just copy that over here. Let's just run it. Right. Okay. So here we're just making sure that the list isn't empty, and if it is, we have a catch else statement. So if the workers list, right, for worker in worker list, you're going to print this out. It's going to add the worker, and then it's going to say print list, list ready at the end, right? Else, if there isn't anyone in that list, right, then it's going to say the list is empty. So this is just going to catch it in the case that list is empty, and it did, because the list is empty, right? But if we add someone in there, like Luke, and run it, then you'll say adding Luke, list is ready. So this is just simulating. Oh, sorry about that. Sneeze there. All right, so yeah, so this is just simulating adding a worker to a list, right? And what would happen? So let's move on. to 32. All right, so now we're getting into some more complex code. Here we're checking to see if a username is already in a list. If it is, let's simulate we're doing account creation, right? If they already have an account, then we can't make them an account, right? So for user in new user, so we're checking our first new user list. If user is in the database user list, which is up here, so these are all the people we have in our database. We have Dan the Tech, Cody, Rex, Fives, right? If the user is already in there, it's going to say user, it's going to print that user. Name is already taken. All right, so looking over this list, just glancing over it, you can see Rex is in the database, but then you can see he's in a new user list. This isn't a real database, by the way. This is just a list. Okay, but you know, I'm trying to simulate this. So Rex is requesting an account, but he already has an account. So therefore, it's already taken. He can't have an account because it's already, that account's already taken, you know. Where let's say someone's requesting an account with the name Rex, right? Well, that name's already taken. Okay, so what we're trying to do is stop duplicates, right? Else, it's going to print your account is in progress, right? And then down here, it's going to print account creation complete. So for user in new user, right? So it's checking each user in the new user. If the user is in the database list, which is up here, then it's going to print this. Otherwise, it's going to do this. It's going to do this for every user in the new user list, which is Woofy, Echo, Heavy, at Rex. So now when we run that, you see your account is in progress, Woofy, your account is in progress, Echo, your account is in progress, Heavy, and Rex name is already taken. And at the end, it says account creation complete. So this is just an example of how you would compare two lists and make sure that there wasn't like a duplicate value or duplicate name that someone's requesting. All right, so here's where it gets a little bit complex. Let me go ahead and replace, just pasting the code we were working with a second ago. What if Rex was just lowercase r? Right, someone's requesting an account Rex. Now let's run it. Well, it's gonna make another account with lowercase r Rex. That's not what we want, right? We want it to make sure that if, you know, if they spell Rex uppercase, lowercase, however case, that we don't have duplicates, that we don't create an account that already exists. Okay, so let's go back over here. And so what we're gonna have to do is we're gonna have to transform our data in a sense. Maybe not transform it, just change the way it's stored in our list. All right, so we have already created users, Dan the Tech, Cody, Rex, Fives. All right, new user, Woofy, Echo, Heavy, and then Rex, all uppercase. Right, so for user in range, and what I'm doing here is I'm trying to take these lists and lowercase both of them. So when it compares them, we'll make sure that those lists are lowercased before it compares the list. So no matter what value you have in there, you know, if they match, it will, you know, prompt you that counts are retaken. Right. Range for user in range, and then so that's the whole list, the length of the list. So the range of that list and the length of it, it's just going to make sure that it accounts for the whole list is what it's doing for. So that range is going to be the length of it. So in this case, we have 0, 1, 2, 3, right? So 3 is a length. And so that range is going to be 3. So it's going to include the whole list. And then it says, already created users. So it's doing that for already created users. So first we're doing this for the first list, right? And what we're doing is we're taking already created users, and for each user in that list, it's going to lower it. So it's going to pass that. It's going to pass down the text, pass Cody Rex 5 to a lower method, right? And then it's going to take the results of that, right? So lowercase down the tech, and it's going to pass it to the variable already created users. So it's the same variable. It's just lowering casing the values in that list, and then passing it to this basically like a new variable, which is the same variable in this case, already created users. And so we're doing that. We're doing the same thing for new users, right? For user in range length already created users. Actually, I'm sorry, new users. I'm looking at this one down here. It's taking the new users, passing it to the lower method, and then it's going to take that user and it's basically put it in this variable new user, which is the same variable. So we're taking these values in this list, passing it to a lower method, lowercasing it, passing it back to this variable. That's basically what we're doing. So that's that. And then for user and new user, if user in already created users, right? So if the value is already in here, then it's going to print name is already taken, right? Else it's going to print your account is in progress. At the end, it's going to say account creation complete. So let's run it. And so here you can see it actually catches recs, right? So, you know, these people are requesting a new account with echoes heavy recs, all uppercase. So it's lowercase this recs, lowercase this recs, and you compare those two, and it said, yep, those match. So therefore, we're going to print name already taken, right? So that's what that does. So that's how you compare two lists, except doing it in a way where the case doesn't matter, because we're going to make both lists the same case, whether that be lower or uppercase, however you want to do it. All right, so let's move on to 34 here. All right, here. Right. Creating a list with the numbers 1 through 5. Then we're appending ST, ND, RD, depending on the number. So, you know, we have first, second, third, right? And then fourth, all the way to the 10th is just TH. So what we're doing here is we have a metal place list. And so it's taking the values in this list that we're creating, and it's adding 1 to it. So for value in range, and we're starting that list at 0 and ending at 10. Okay, so here we're building our list from 0 to 10, which would be 1 to 10, right? Because we're incrementing by 1. So 0 plus 1, 1, right? 1 to 10. For place in metal place list, right? So you can say each one of those numbers is a place. If place is equal to 1, then it's going to print you placed, and then the place whatever value we're at within that list. So if we're at 1, then you placed first, and that's gold, right? Else if place equal to 2, it's going to print you placed, and then the place of that second, which is equal to silver, right? And third, you place third, which is equal to bronze, and everyone after third. So if it's greater than third, you place third, or or actually it's if it's greater than third, so it'd be fourth, right? So 4 through 10. you place 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, and so on. You get a participation ribbon. And that's all I achieved through kindergarten through high school. No, I'm just playing. All right, let's run that. All right. You place first gold, place second silver, place third bronze, and then everyone else is 4 to 10 is a participation ribbon with the TH at the end. Okay, so that's how we did that. What I'm showing you here is how to build a list, right? Kind of dynamically in a sense. And then we're essentially just checking a value and then setting that value to a string. And depending on what value it stops at, it's going to print that string. Okay. All right, let's see what we got next. All right, so the special program. I'm actually going to look into creating a small Python app. I think that's going to be another video because I want to make one for both Windows and Linux. So that's coming up next. But I just want to get this out so that we can wrap up chapter 5, and that special program it's just going to be something extra. You know, what I don't want is I don't want you, and then that's why I didn't put it in the video, is to get so wrapped up in this special program and get stuck. So it's optional if you want to do it. I'll release the video later this week and you'll see it. Otherwise, you know, objective complete, mission accomplished. All right, so great. Thank you for watching this video. Please like and subscribe. It just motivates me to creating more content, more videos for you guys. If you guys think I could improve anything, please throw a comment in the comment section and let me know what I can improve. And may the force be with you. This is the way.